Greetings, team. Continuing with our Oracle Cloud Procurement Implementation Business Process sessions. Today we will demonstrate sourcing process in Oracle Cloud. Focus is again on best practices and what we define our 3S approach, basically to design simple, synchronized and swift process in Oracle Cloud. So let's begin and see that in the system. I am using one Oracle Cloud demo instance, and I am using the standard login provided by Oracle Kelvin Roth. This user is assigned procurement manager role and have access to all the procurement applications. So as we saw it earlier in previous sessions, this is the basic home page when the user log in into the Oracle Cloud. To start the sourcing process, we will go to the procurement functional area and click on negotiations. And this is the basic home page, sourcing home page when the sourcing manager or any other sourcing user will log into Oracle Cloud. So before we study the sourcing process in Oracle Cloud, let's discuss how sourcing process is synced with upstream and downstream business processes in the organization. In simple words, sourcing process establishes the source or vendor and price for the goods or services required in the organization, both for direct and indirect procurement. So upstream process for sourcing is requisition process. Requisition, as we all understand, is basically requirement for what we need, how much we need, when we need, and where we need. And in Oracle, requirement or requisition can come from various applications and business processes. For example, it can come from application inventory for min-max or reordering process. It can come from MRP or ASCP for planning processes. It can come from work in process application for outside processing process, or it can come from order management application for drop ship process. Requisition also can be entered manually in self-service procurement application or in basic purchasing application. Also in Oracle, we can interface requisition or requirements from any legacy applications, like organizations sometimes have different legacy applications for tooling like Maximo or any other application where some processes are done and there is a requirement. The requisition can also be interfaced to Oracle Cloud. So now if there is a approved requisition in the system, which can, as we discussed, can come from various business processes and application, then sourcing process need to determine source or vendor and price agreement for that requirement. Outcome documents from sourcing process can either be contract purchase agreement, blanket purchase agreement, or standard purchase order. So procurement process is the downstream process which uses agreements and purchase orders to order and receive goods or services from the supplier. And now we also understand that to maintain these agreements on expiration, we need again to start the sourcing process to get the new price agreements established in the system. Summarizing, sourcing process can be started either from approved requisitions and second for maintaining agreements on expiration. Now there can be other business process scenarios which require sourcing process. For example, if organization is project based, then requirements can come from projects also. Also, to be competitive in the market, organizations constantly introduce upgrades and new products or services in the market. So, NPI, or what we call new product information, or sometimes we call it NPD, new product development process, where engineering team will start engineering change order ECO in the PLM systems, product life management systems, for the upgrade or to introduce new products. And if there are any buy components in the product, then sourcing team need to establish source and price for that also. So let's see if we can achieve all this synchronization for sourcing process in Oracle Cloud. So as we said earlier, this is the basic home screen when the user will log into the system, and on the left hand side we see we are displaying the recent activities, and there is a negotiation calendar where the sourcing manager or user can see all the activities as per date. And then we see there are ongoing negotiations, and then draft negotiations. If user saved the negotiation to complete it in future time, then it is a draft negotiation. And this is, see, what we were talking earlier, expiring agreements. So this one synchronization to maintain the agreements and to renegotiate the agreements and to start the sourcing process, Oracle has given it in Oracle Cloud. If we have here expiring agreements, those will show, and we can select them and then click this button renegotiate to start the sourcing process. So one of the synchronization is given for sourcing process with the upstream process to maintain the expiring agreements. But as we discussed earlier, our main upstream processes were the requisition processes for which we need to start the sourcing process. And if we see now, basically in Oracle Cloud, Oracle has started giving all the navigations to make it more sleek on the right hand side. And if we click all this, we will see all the uh, actions or buttons where we can start that process. So we see there is a create negotiation, manage negotiation, but we don't see here where we can start uh, from the approved requisition. So this is the enhancement which Oracle Cloud Development team is working on. And as we know, if you have implemented sourcing in EBS, this functionality is given in EBS, where in the sourcing application, Oracle has provided the approved requisition page from where the user can select that approved requisition and add that to the document builder, what we call, and start the sourcing process. So that functionality still is not there in Oracle Cloud. But to achieve that, what we will do is we will go to the purchasing application and see some of the approved requisition and check whether from there we can start the sourcing process from the approved requisition. So let's click on purchasing. So if we again click on the right hand side, and if we click on process requisitions, so if we see now, there are few approved requisitions in the system which still are not converted into the orders or agreements. So if we just check, if we see one, so this is the functionality given in purchasing. So what we have to do is we have to give access to this form to the sourcing user, so that whatever requisitions are assigned to them, they can select the requisitions. And if we see in the actions also, there is a function given add to document builder. So this is basically, if we add these to document builder, let's just check one of the requisitions. I will click on add to document builder, and I have selected procurement business units, US1 business unit. So now we see, if we add this requisition line to the document builder, we have the now option to either add this to new order or existing order, and this we already covered in the purchasing section. When we did our purchasing session, we covered this functionality, that how we can flip requisitions to convert to either a new order or existing order. But we see now the option is also there to flip this requisition to a new negotiation. Basically, either we can convert it into one of the negotiation type, RFQ, request for quotation, or auction. So this functionality is given. So all we have to do is add this access to the sourcing manager or sourcing user. But we have to keep it in mind when we define our custom roles. We only give sourcing user access to this form. We don't give them access to create new purchase orders, or access to create a standard purchase order because of segregation of duties. Mostly companies have this segregation of duties, that sourcing manager will be responsible for creating only the agreements, and the actual buyers or the material planners will have access to create the standard purchase orders or releases based upon those agreements. So keep that in mind when we configure a custom role and give the access of this form to the sourcing user. So now I will cancel this, and we will go back to the sourcing application to see, start the RFQ process from there. So I'm clicking back on that negotiation application, and this is what we saw it earlier, the basic home page. So as we discussed, that one of the way to start the sourcing process is to start from the expiring agreements, and we just saw that the other way is to start the sourcing process from the approved requisition, get the requisitions and add them to the document builder and start the sourcing process. The other business processes which we talked earlier, like the new product introduction process, or the project based requisitions. So these are, we are raising these processes basically to Oracle Cloud Development, and these are in the future roadmap. But as of now, either we have to bring those requirements from engineering systems as directly as requirements, and then take that requirement and convert that to RFQ, or we can bring them directly as the sourcing RFQ itself. So based upon your organization size or the volume of those kind of requirements, you have to decide whether you want to do that as a manual process, or you need to do some customization, so that all the requirements from your engineering systems are automatically created as sourcing RFQs and assigned to the appropriate sourcing manager, so that they can start the sourcing process to meet those requirements. But as of now, what we will demonstrate is the manual process. We will just start a simple negotiation using this create negotiation button, and see the basic cycle of sourcing process. And as we all understand, sourcing mainly consists of three sub processes. The first is the negotiation process, where we will see the sourcing user will publish or send all the information to the supplier. And the second process is the supplier response, where supplier will send back the quotation or bid. Bid is what we call response to the auction, and quotation is what we call response to the RFQ or RFI, or sometimes we call it RFP also, request for proposal. And then the third process is that when the sourcing manager receive all the responses back from supplier, uh, all the evaluation will be done and the award will be made. So we will see now these three cycles. We are already logged in as sourcing user, and we will now start the first process where we will send, and we will use the negotiation type as RFQ. And as I said, it can be RFQ, request for quotation, RFI, request for information, or sometimes we also call it RFP, request for proposal. There are subtle differences and definitions for RFQ, RFI, and RFP. And auction, we understand, and this is a reverse auction is available within sourcing application. So for this demo, I will just pick the type RFQ, and I am using a negotiation style as a standard negotiation and not a two-stage negotiation. So this is another functionality Oracle has provided, and this was available in EBS also, that we can have now a two-stage negotiation where we can, in first stage we will just evaluate the supplier either for their financial capability or technical capability, and then shortlist them, and then start a second stage with then detailed negotiations on the pricing and other attributes and terms and conditions. So for this demonstration, we will just use a simple cycle of standard negotiation. And this is another functionality Oracle has provided in Oracle Cloud, and this was available in EBS also. We can use a negotiation template, we can pre-build templates, and we can define all the rules and all the controls in that template, which can be defaulted to all the negotiations. So this is a good business practice that what we have what we have been implementing to various organizations. What we recommend is that most companies now are doing is to keep the negotiation templates as minimum as possible for the direct procurement, primarily for direct procurement. The reason is that the companies or organizations now want a common and standard process for which they can get the all the standard attributes in that RFQ, so that later the reporting can be done. Like primarily for direct procurement, companies prepare the templates with their cost, quality, or delivery attributes, and even at the header level, if they are gathering information related to compliance attributes, so they want to keep it consistent. So the best practice is uh, don't use templates like the RFQ itself, like every sourcing manager is preparing their own templates in their own way. Then we lose the sanctity and don't get the common information which we need later for reporting. So this is one of the best practices to keep it in mind. At least for direct procurement, keep the negotiation templates consistent, based on the company policies, company controls, which all the sourcing managers apply that basic negotiation template to the negotiation. And obviously, sourcing managers or users have the option to add additional requirements or attributes at header level or line level and do any further attachments beyond what has been defaulted from the template. So as we see now the outcome, we discussed it earlier also, that outcome of the primarily outcome of the negotiation can be blanket purchase agreement, contract purchase agreement, or a standard purchase order. And the other, what you see now, these have been defined uh, non-seeded by us. We can have our negotiation styles defined and show them as outcome, but the fundamental structure behind these outcomes is blanket contract or standard only. But sometimes just to for reporting purposes, we can define a style called letter of intent or material agreement or non-disclosure agreement. I'm giving examples of contract purchase agreement, that all those are contract purchase agreement, but just to segregate them for reporting, we can define a different outcomes, like what you see now in this demo instance. Somebody defined deliverable services CPA or deliverable services PO. So but basically the fundamental structure behind all these outcomes is either a blanket contract or purchase order with slight variations. So for this demonstration, I will just pick the outcome blanket purchase agreement. Now, uh, let's pause for a minute and understand. We discussed the upstream processes in detail, and the outcome we just said that it can be blanket, contract, or standard. But the business requirement can be, let's say, there is a unfulfilled requirement which we know we need to make a now a standard purchase order for that. But this we know is a recurring requirement, so we also need a blanket purchase agreement. So how we will achieve that? That we need now two outcomes from the same process. If we also want to make a blanket purchase agreement for future requirements, that in future if this requirement comes, then the system should have the source and price based upon that blanket purchase agreement. And also for this particular immediate need, we also need a standard purchase order for this outcome, for this requirement. And sometimes the scenario can be, if it is a, if we are, and we will see that in the demo once we go through this cycle. If it's a new supplier, we may need a contract purchase agreement also with that supplier first, and then also a blanket purchase agreement and also a standard purchase agreement. So there are ways to achieve that. So let's just keep it in mind that based upon the organization need, you need to design a process which is simple and synchronized and swift, depending upon what outcomes are needed for that particular requirement. So for this demonstration, I will just use one outcome as blanket purchase agreement, and I will just click this button create. And okay, let's first pick the template also. So there are, I see various templates defined by consultants who are practicing in this demo instance. So let's just pick this first one, IT equipment upgrade. So basically whatever requirements or line level attributes and controls are defined in this template will default now to this RFQ. So we will click create. So this is the first page. We see that from the template it came that and cover page we can define in the templates, or sometimes if we don't want the same information going on again and again, we can skip this cover page also. But in this template, this cover page is defined indicating the purpose and the objective of this Vision Inc. company, and this is the IT equipment upgrade server. And now if we click next, so this is now the first page what we are used to seeing in the EBS also, where we give the basic information like the title. So for this exercise I will just give demo RFQ, and we can do the attachments at the header level. And if we want to use this negotiation to go through the approval process, or if we want to indicate any approval amounts, we can indicate it here. But the best practice what we are seeing now is just to publish the RFQ the companies or organizations are not using the approval process. Primarily, we use the approval process when the sourcing user is awarding that RFQ. Then they need to see that award and approve that award based upon the delegation of authority. And the other advantage of using approvals at the award process is then we can skip the approvals on the blanket purchase agreement process. Basically, then once if the award has already been approved by your managers or by the appropriate authorities based upon delegation of authority, then if the outcome is blanket purchase agreement, then we can just get that blanket purchase agreement auto approved. So if we see now, there is a first section, the general tab, where we just this close date is a required field, so we will just give one close date. Let's give 3 days. In actual practice, the users may give 2 weeks or 1 month, depending upon the complexity of the negotiation. So we have checked open on approval and don't need to give any award date or open date. All these other fields, if you are familiar with Oracle sourcing and EBS, these are primarily same, the blind or sealed, what we know, and there is the other option open when we do the auction. Sealed is primarily used when we have government RFQs where even the sourcing users or whoever is owning the negotiation cannot see the response from the supplier unless the until the RFQ or negotiation is unlocked. Blind means the sourcing owner can see that from the organization side, but the suppliers will not see each other's response. And these are the standard layouts what we are using just for the RFQ print PDF. Price breaks we all understand. Rank indicator, this is similar to Oracle EBS, either no indicator, 1 2 3 or best. Ranking method, we can have price only or multi attribute. So for this demo we will use price only. And these are the controls. Now if we saw these all defaulted from the template basically, and we can configure the application. Like some of the controls we want to default from the template and we want the users to have the ability to change them, or sometimes we want that this control should not be overridden, so we can configure the sourcing application in Oracle Cloud the way we want. So right now I will just check. So this is one of the important control, restrict to invited suppliers. Uh, Primarily in direct procurement, we like to restrict the negotiation to invited suppliers. And generally, multiple responses is okay, but sometimes we have seen organizations they don't allow multiple responses or response revision. Primarily in direct procurement. In indirect procurement, this should be okay. But right now, let's get all this checked and let's have all these controls. And now, if we go to the second tab, the terms. So this is if we have the outcome as blanket purchase agreement, we can give now on the payment terms and the shipping method and the Incoterms, basically the freight terms. And also like in Oracle EBS, we have the now functionality in Oracle Cloud also that we can have responses in other currencies if we want. But let's keep this demo simple. Just use USD for this exercise. And as we know in Oracle EBS, we can always add other team members, and now these team members came from the template, but the generally the best practices is that we keep, as I said, the templates as minimum as controlled, which are common to all the negotiations. So collaboration teams, primarily the users will add once they start the negotiations, and we don't recommend to start defining all the different sets and subsets of collaboration teams in the template itself. Then, as I said earlier, we lose the sanctity of the templates, and then every sourcing user or sourcing managers start defining their own templates with their set of collaboration teams and suppliers. But we recommend, and this is the best practices now most of the organizations are applying, that keep the templates minimum as possible, have the common controls in that, and then after that, if the sourcing user wants to add or modify, they do that in the particular negotiation itself. So let's keep it as it is. And then, as I was saying earlier, this synchronization with the projects in Oracle Cloud, Oracle has started this. We can always now create a project plan for this RFQ, and if it's a very big RFQ and involves multiple lines and multiple activities, then this can be started as a project plan itself, and we can have different milestones and different task levels of RFQ basically done as a project task and a project plan. So for this demo, I will not click on that. You can practice that in your demo instance. This will basically, if I click this, this will open a Microsoft project plan page, and not Microsoft, the project plan page, where you can start this RFQ as a project and then assign that lines of that RFQ to different resources, and then track those tasks, project tasks accordingly. So for this demo, I will just keep it simple. We have seen all these tabs: general terms, collaboration team, and project task. And you see, there is a Oracle in cloud also gave this train at the top. Either you can click the next button, or you can click on from here also to go to the next step. Let me click at the top as the requirements. So this, now we see that all these requirements defaulted from the template itself, which the answers we want uh, suppliers to give response to all this. Company information is there, then general capability is there, and then internal section is there. And the other thing which we were talking earlier, we can always default basically, if we see, this option is there, the predefined qualification area. As we saw in the supplier qualification demonstration, we qualify the supplier based upon different qualification area and start the initiative. So this synchronization is already given by Oracle Cloud, that if you want to now re-qualify the supplier, or even within the RFQ you want to pull in all those predefined qualification questions, you can pull all that in the RFQ as the requirement. So supplier qualification management application and sourcing processes are synchronized in this way, that during the RFQ we can pull all the qualification questions again and ask those questions as part of this RFQ itself. So we'll keep those all these questions as it is, and then let's go to the next and see the lines. So right now, from the template itself, they have defaulted this one line, and as I said it earlier, that this is not the best practice, that every sourcing user or manager is defining their own templates with their subset of lines, and their subset of suppliers, and their subset of basically questions, or the collaboration team members. The idea is that the template should be minimum in number, so that the common organizational controls can be established. As I said, that the general compliance questions which we want to ask in all the RFQs, or if it is a direct procurement, that we want to get the uh, synchronized information related to cost, quality, and delivery attributes. So if every sourcing manager start making their own templates in their own way, it will serve the purpose of that particular negotiation. But as we said that we want a synchronized process also, so the downstream then reporting will become difficult if you want to do some audit or reporting. So the recommended approach is keep the templates minimum, keep only the common controls there, and then all these things like adding of lines, adding of collaboration team members, and adding of suppliers uh, is done as part of the RFQ itself. So, but for this demo, let's keep this line. It's already there, 7,000 coming from the template. I will then click on next, and this is now if we have the outcome as the contract purchase agreement, then these are the contract terms. Basically, this is a synchronization now between sourcing RFQ application and the contract procurement contract application. If we click on this add contract terms, basically the procurement contract application pages will open, and the same way as we are applying the contract templates and doing the authoring and collaboration with the supplier, negotiating all the terms and condition, the same process can be started here within the sourcing RFQ itself. And this is what then you have to decide as a consultant depending upon the organization needs and business processes, that how you want to connect your sourcing, and do you want outcome as contract and then blanket and standard. And uh, the way this is needed is that if the outcome is contract purchase agreement, then you will not get the outcome as blanket purchase agreement, then you may have to start the another RFQ. So we have to see all the possibilities of synchronization. And if we now see in the procurement contract session, we showed that now Oracle, in Oracle Cloud for procurement contract, they have given the functionality to add lines within the contract. So, do you want to do the RFQ process and get the outcome as contract agreement, or you want to start a contract agreement process and add lines there and then flip those lines into blanket purchase agreement? So, these are all the things you will have to decide so that overall in the organization, the process as we define our 3S approach, the process is simple, synchronized, and then the outcome is a swift process. So for this demo, I will not start the contract process within this RFQ. I will keep this a simple sourcing RFQ process, and I will click on the next button to add the suppliers. So this, as I said earlier, that they defaulted in the template what I am using. They have the suppliers also in the template. So I will not repeat it again that this is not a good business best practice. The template should be as minimum as possible, and you should, in Oracle EBS there was a functionality where we can have the supplier list, and we can add that list itself in the negotiation, and sourcing managers used to keep the list according to the various commodity codes or category codes and based upon their criteria. But in Oracle Cloud, that supplier list is still in the future roadmap, it's still not there. So the only option is you have to search and add the suppliers. And the good thing is that in Oracle Cloud, they have synced this search with the supplier qualification area. So basically, you can choose the qualification different areas and then search those suppliers with that outcome which are fully compliant, and then only add those suppliers to the RFQ. Or you can search your suppliers based upon your business qualification, or even based upon a different commodity codes, and even your approved suppliers can be searched here basically. So right now I will just cancel this, and I will keep the same four suppliers for this demo, and I know we have login available for Lee suppliers, which is Ryan Lee. Let me note this down, the login, because we have to see that supplier response cycle also. And the other login is Tom Gold. We will use these two to see the response for Advanced Corp and Lee suppliers. So Ryan Lee and Tom Gold. Okay. So let me just click on next. So what we have done is we have shown the basic first process of sourcing, where we are completing the negotiation information, and the last page is the review page, where the sourcing user can review all that information of all these overview requirements and lines. So one thing we have not done is here is in this template I have not seen any line level attributes, and primarily this also is in the future roadmap. This functionality is available in Oracle EBS. We can default the line level attributes from the template to the RFQ, but right now in Oracle Cloud, if we want the attributes at the line levels, we have to just click on edit, and then add all those cost, quality, delivery attributes, whatever additional information we need for this particular line. So this works if there are few lines, but if there is a multiple line RFQ, like if you are negotiating with supplier for 50 lines or 100 lines, then it becomes slightly difficult to add all those consistent attributes one by one. The other workaround option in Oracle Cloud is we can always upload those line level attributes from the Excel. Basically here we have add by spreadsheet import lines, and then the attributes also can be attributed, can be uploaded to all the lines. But Oracle is considering this functionality in Oracle Cloud in future roadmap, so that the line level attributes are defaulted from the template itself and automatically applied to all the lines which you are adding to your negotiation. So let me again click on the review page, and I will just publish this negotiation now. So let's note down this number also, 31764. Okay. So now we will quickly log in as one of the supplier and then second supplier and submit the response. So one was Ryan Lee. I remember Ryan Lee. So if we see now, go to the supplier. So this is the basic home page which we discussed also in the supplier portal session. What functionalities and options are available in supplier portal, but right now we'll just respond to this negotiation which we have just published. So if you see, we see it here. You are invited to negotiation 31764. What we just published demo RFQ. We can click on this work list also, or we can always go to this manage responses and response from there also as supplier. Let me just pick this option, submit supplier response from this way. So I clicked on this negotiation, taking some time. Let me pause for a minute, and because system is taking time, so I will just pause this recording for opened or not. Let me pause it. So this link worklist link is not working. So what we will do is to submit response. I will just click on this negotiation tab, and if you see now this 31764, the demo RFQ what we just published is shown here. So we'll submit the response this way. Either you can select this RFQ and click on create response, or we can always click on this RFQ link itself, and then we can create response for this from here also. So let me quickly submit the response for this supplier. So they can primarily give the date, response valid until, and they can give their own reference number and the note to buyer, and supplier can submit attachments at the header level. But to keep this demo simple, I will just submit the price, and these were the requirements which we asked in the negotiation from the supplier. And let me just quickly respond to this. So, and if you see, this is a compliance section, and all these already are defaulting from the supplier qualification which they have already done in the previous negotiation. So that is the advantage of synchronizing supplier qualification and sourcing process, that we can reuse the existing qualifications, and if they want to update now they can do that. So is this a public company? Let's do that. Yes. And how many years experience? We can say 4 to 5 years, and describe your company, and this is already there, annual report. So this section is there, and let me see the general capability section. And here, will you provide a dedicated account team? We can say yes. And maybe if we say no, then it will be less answers. To keep this simple, and we discussed this in supplier qualification management session, that if you now see that you can have a branching of questions, that if the answer is this, then you can have a subsequent questions depending upon the response. If yes, then ask the subsequent questions. So let's do this. Response attachment is not required. So is your support service available? Yes. Which of the following? We can have a remote desktop and a phone, email also. Supplier can submit the response. Which of the following system management tools are available? We can select 2 or 3 for this response. So, and you see these all are, we can make these attachments as required or optional. So right now here these are optional, so I'm not doing any attachments. So all this is done, and we will validate this. If something is missed, system will give a error that you have not submitted the complete response. So we'll do the validation before submitting this response. So these two sections are filled, and let me go to next. And this is the line level. So response price, the start price is coming from the negotiation as 7,000. So we cannot submit more than 7,000. So let me submit 6,700. And as we saw in the negotiation, we never had any line level attributes, so there is no need to go to edit and give that response for the line level attributes. But in real practice, particularly for direct procurement, definitely there are a lot of line level attributes which the sourcing manager requests, as we said earlier, related to cost, quality, and delivery. So let's click next, and this is just the action. So let me submit this, and if there are any missing information, system should give the error. So everything was complete. So we got the confirmation, the response to negotiation is submitted. So this is done from one supplier. Let's quickly log out and do the same exercise for the other supplier, which was, as I recollect, Tom Gore. So we'll quickly log in with the other supplier so that we can do some comparison and evaluation when we are awarding. So again, the work list is not working, so I will go the negotiation route. I will see this is the open negotiation, and let me just click now from here, create response, and quickly create the response. Similar to that, if we see these are the sections, so here we will keep primarily no, so that to keep the response simple, so that we don't have to give this, save it and go next. Describe company description. Okay, and then let's see the general capability section. The company's use of technology, company. I'm just writing few things to fill this column because this is required. The supplier will give the actual response to this. So if we keep this no, then there are no answer. Let me quickly do 2 3. Do you have a formal customer development program? If they no, okay. So seems like this supplier, the way we have responded is not a public limited company and have less abilities for customer development program. And this we will see now when we are comparing the two response. So let's go to the next and give the price. Price, see if now this is not generally a good practice in the direct procurement. I have not controlled the response rules, and this option was whether you want to display the prices or indicator to the other supplier. So generally, as a best practice, we hide it in direct procurement. Primarily, this war bidding is done in the auction when we are doing for indirect procurement or sometimes for direct procurement also, where the primarily objective is to get the best price and not all the information related to line level attributes or header level attributes. So generally in direct procurement RFQs, we do the control that the prices are not displayed, the best prices are not displayed to the competitive suppliers. So we will give 6500 for this. And if we go next, we will now review this and quickly submit this. So both the responses are submitted. So we have done the two processes. The first, the submission of the negotiation, and the second, the supplier response. And now to complete this sourcing process, we will quickly log in as the same Kelvin Roth sourcing user and compare these two responses and quickly award this RFQ. So if we again go back to procurement negotiations, and if we see now here 31764, so right now the responses are not updated here. If we refresh the system, it just take few minutes to get the response back. So new responses are shown. So let's open this RFQ itself. If we just click on any icon, so what we can do is we can analyze the negotiation first, and if we analyze, we will see there are two response. You can select both of them and analyze the suppliers, or if you want to analyze the lines, you can analyze the lines. uh, there are a lot of functionalities given and we will discuss whatever we can in this demo, but we'll just keep this simple. So if you want to analyze, you can just click on the analyze, and then the side by side comparison screen will come. You have the charts, and here, since we only had the uh, header level information, so this comparison is there, how much savings are there, what is the response amount. And if you want, if we are at the line level, we can compare the lines also. We can do, there is a complete analysis available, and we can always download this information in the Excel. Let me see if that download functionality is available and is working in my Mac. So I will download this. So this is the zip file. So this is not working in my Mac. So let me pause this and go back to the system. So this analyze by spreadsheet is not working in my Mac, but this works in Oracle Cloud and also in Oracle EBS. Oracle has provided a very good macro with rich style spreadsheet where all the information can be compared and reviewed in the Excel format, and also the award can be uploaded from the Excel spreadsheet itself. So basically, all the steps what we have shown till now, like the RFQ creation, can also be done via Excel upload. Even supplier can download all that information into Excel and can upload the supplier responses via spreadsheet. And even then, all the responses are back to sourcing user. Those all can be downloaded into Excel, and the award also can be uploaded via Excel spreadsheet. So right now for this demo, I will just conclude this and award this RFQ quickly. So I will click on done and go back to the RFQ itself, 31764. So to award this RFQ, once the analysis is complete, we have to first close this RFQ. So we will go to manage, and if you see here now, there are a lot of functionalities given in Oracle Cloud and also in Oracle EBS. We have the option to create the amendment, even the surrogate response. If the supplier is not using the supplier portal and they are sending you responses in email, then you as a sourcing user also can upload the supply response on behalf of supplier, which we call the surrogate response. And also you can add the additional suppliers, and also you can pause or extend the RFQ as required. So now for this exercise, I will just close this RFQ quickly, close immediately. Click OK. And if we now go to this action, now you see after close, this analyze option now is changed to award. So now, as I said, we can award the negotiation line by line or with supplier or from Excel spreadsheet upload also. So let me quickly award this negotiation. What I will do is, I will, since this is only one line, I will just award this line to one of the suppliers. And this is again a comparison screen, and if you recollect the Oracle sourcing in EBS, we have this small checkbox which we always train the sourcing users that don't forget to check this box, because this checkbox saves the award decision in the system. So again, they can quickly do the comparison, and we are awarding this RFQ to Advanced Corp. So I will just select this checkbox and click Save and Close. And now we will submit this award for approval. As I said earlier, this is the best practice that we are configuring the approvals at the RFQ award stage. Uh, right now, most of the organizations are not requiring that before publishing RFQ should go to approval. That option is available in Oracle Cloud also. We can configure that even before sending the RFQs to supplier, we can route them through the approval process. Also, we are now getting away with blanket agreement approvals, because if the award is already approved and the award then is converted to blanket purchase agreement, then the approval of blanket purchase agreement again is kind of a redundant process. So this is the best practice we are applying. And why we are not keeping approvals at the blanket, because we all understand that the blanket purchase agreement in the planning systems are used for then to create the standard purchase orders or releases. So we like to keep the blanket purchase agreement in the approved status as much as possible, and not in process status when the approval is going on for blanket purchase agreement. So that is why, as a best practice, we moved the approvals of the award at the award approval stage. So I will just submit this award for approval. And now this in this demo instance, is it takes a few minutes to get this RFQ approved. uh, but and this way this demo instance is configured, this will get auto approved. But in actual practice, as I said, as a best practice, we can always route this award to approval as per delegation of authority or whatever rules you have configured in the approval management engine. uh, so we will right now conclude this demonstration here. But as we discussed it earlier, once this award is approved, we can always, as a last step, flip this RFQ award and create a blanket purchase agreement in the system. The Oracle, as of now, both in Oracle Cloud and EBS, has given a functionality to create a new blanket purchase agreement from award. But in the actual practice, most of the organizations, as we understand that by definition, blanket purchase agreement is a long term agreement, and companies or organizations don't like to create every time a new blanket purchase agreement every time they are adding a new part to that supplier or renegotiating that part, because there is a lot of information attached to that blanket purchase agreement. And the blanket purchase agreements are then numbers are used in the various scheduling or EDI submission processes. So we update the existing blanket purchase agreement whenever we do the award. And this functionality also Oracle Cloud is considering as an enhancement both in Oracle EBS and in Oracle Cloud. So right now we will conclude this demonstration, and as I said it earlier at the start of this presentation, just focus on designing a process based upon what we call our 3S approach. The process should be simple, it should be synchronized with upstream and downstream processes, and it should be swift. And always what I say, that the good Oracle consultant is who know Oracle functionality and who knows what to implement. But the best Oracle consultant is who knows Oracle functionality and who knows what not to implement. So talk to you all again in next session. Thank you.